That's fine. I've been on the receiving end of updates myself.
Yeah, Zoom. Of course, as soon as I open it, it wants to update. And I'm like, no. Anyway, how are you?
I'm well enough. I'm at home.
Oh, you're at home. Yeah, yeah, yeah. You're done with your grandma.
No, she's just really busy this week and doesn't want company.
Oh, fair. Yeah, that's kind of nice. Yeah, how's your week slash weekend been otherwise?
Well enough. I got all the way up to what am I at now? Chapter 15, I think, or 14? No, I think I
Oh,
sent you 14.
yeah, nice. Good for you. Right on. We had a good time in California. We went to Hollywood, the Grand Canyon, and Vegas. We decided to kind of do everything, and um, I think somebody was shot in the head 4 days after we were like in the very spot we were 4 days previous.
Wow.
America was wonderful. People were great. That's kind of scary, but apart from that weird situation, we had a really great time.
Mm.
A lot of fun. So you've been
Well,
just you've just been writing like a champ, eh?
well, I had my finals as well, so there was that.
Ooh,
Pretty sure I
perfect.
passed. My grades didn't go under 70, so I'm pretty sure I passed.
Oh, good for you. Right on. How many courses did you have again?
Two so far. I might take another one. Not sure. We'll see.
Yeah. How are you feeling about it? You feeling pretty good about it?
Uh, it was a lot harder than I would have liked.
Really, eh?
Yeah, not a great teacher.
Oh no. Just not helpful?
I didn't talk to her once.
Oh, fair.
I was given a lot of reading material, all of which I had to read or I wouldn't pass, and a couple of YouTube videos, and then I was given an assignment and told to figure it out.
Oh, yeah, I've had classes like that. What a bummer. Oh,
Yeah,
and you're probably paying pretty decent money for it too.
yeah, it was like $500.
Well, hopefully you get. What about your other teacher? Was your other teacher good?
Oh yeah, he was better. He was better, but like a lot of
Hmm.
kids, so mixed results.
Yeah, crazy. Well, good luck with it with the other class. If you what's the one class you might take still?
Well, I got the basics for computer programming, and I might go deeper into computer programming. But
Hmm.
my one reason for not think for considering not to is because the last course, the one with the where the teacher was basically absent, that was really hard. And
Hmm.
now I'm wondering, like, was it hard because she was absent, or is it hard because I'm not good at this?
Yeah. Oh, that's a crappy feeling. I'm gonna hope it's the teacher. Because that would I understand that
Because the
feeling though.
final, I was literally just looking up answers to some shit. So
I've totally had classes like that where I had that same mind fuck that you're having, where it's like, was it me? Was it them? I don't know. And
what
it's kind of a
am I just
a
really
bad
good at
place to
looking
be.
up answers, or am I actually good at this? Because I spent most of the time looking up answers.
Well, it's a skill too. Oh, I'm sorry about that, but well, okay. Well, hopefully it's better. Let's just launch right into this. This was great. I love the improvements. This was fantastic. Actually, whole chunks of this I have no comments on because I think you've got just a really solid thing. What I would do in common practice when you're starting a new chapter, just because it might have been a day or two since they read chapter 12, or it could have been right after. Usually people will say picking Ramona up
Yeah,
Julius, even though,
I can see that. I didn't change.
yeah,
I literally just copy and pasted. I didn't make any changes. So
cool. Yeah, cool. This is great. All of this is fantastic. You can see my note there. Julius is behaving exactly. I totally love, respect, and admire Julius. He can still be a rascal and snarly and whatever else every other time. This approach he's taking with her felt like exactly it's legit emergency response now. It's not somebody being saying anything other than what needs to be said. The description of her is fantastic. I love that you've got these observations while he's taking care of her. When did she learn bark skin? When did she learn solar beam, for that matter? Like, he's trying to figure
oh
out.
crap! It wasn't supposed to be solar beam.
Oh, okay, because you changed that, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, whatever it is, it's whatever you end up putting in here. It's just fantastic that he's thinking this. The only suggestion I would make, just as literate, fairly common literary practice, when did she learn how to do magic? For that, question mark, then new sentence, because she was, I think you meant to say either the greatest prodigy of nature magic he had ever seen, or someone had taught her magic before he'd even met her. Period. End of sentence. I love this. This whole stream of consciousness that's going through his mind is fantastic. So it's just ringing really true. Little thing here might be a little suggestion here. because you're using a metaphor, Julius was dragged out of his various thoughts. He wasn't dragged out of his thoughts as Dick's voice called out. He was dragged out of his thoughts by Dick's voice is what it sounds like. So I would just change that by Dick's voice calling out to everybody. Um, this I think there might have been you might have meant to write this differently. Did everyone get outside? No, we got everyone outside. We were able to get everyone inside. Oh yeah, did everybody get inside? No, we got everybody inside. So it sounds like you're. Do you see what I'm seeing there?
Yeah.
So I think it's just a wording thing there. But it was good. This is so visual, Hayden. This whole thing that you're creating here is so visual. Anytime you have okay, because you've got it a few times through, in literature, it's okay. It's the full spelling of okay rather than the colloquial okay.
Okay.
And a suggestion here, just to sort of put the final nail in the scene, just to button it up. My suggestion would be, rather than Dick asking, "Do you think she's going to be okay?" and then Julius giving a very clear-minded and rational response, I might make the suggestion that switch them around and just give Julius a moment where, for the first time, we see him kind of speechless because he's just so grateful he was able to take care of Ramona. So I would suggest Dick do the talking and let the visual sort of, he says, Dick nodded, listening, and you're like, oh, this is tasty. This is a Julius I haven't seen, a guy who there is a humanity there. There's a vulnerability that's brief by him just having the fewest words possible. And then you button this scene up and it's just perfect. This is one of the tightest things you've ever written. I love it.
Great.
There's a few times where there's repetition, easy to fix, swarmed over her skin, crawling over her body, all within a couple of sentences. So I would invite you to choose different word over once and reword the others, just so you're not saying over, because that's sort of one of the first signs for publishers and for readers that you're a new writer, or you don't edit your own work, which you don't want to send either message. Same thing here with Ramona, just like we had earlier with the comment with Dick. Rather than Ramona woke up as a scream ripped its way out of her throat, the scream is what, it sounds like the scream and her waking up, one is causing the other. There's nothing wrong with that. My suggestion would be Ramona woke up with a scream that ripped its way out of her throat. And I would suggest, rather than hard enough that she hurt her larynx, that's sort of what I'm assuming you mean by ripped it's hurting her, kind of thing like that. So rather than the double, I would just make the suggestion, rip its way out of her throat. All this conversation, I have nothing to add here, man. Like, this is really, really good.
Excellent.
How are you feeling? I'm okay. Magical locus has descended on the town. Either a comma or a period, usually a semicolon in mid dialogue.
I blame Grammarly.
And it's right if it is non-dialogue. It would be right in that case. I thought there was a dream. It wasn't. Julie said you've been asleep since last night. Now, here I'm going to make a suggestion, and it is just a suggestion. Physically, you're fine. I know what you're getting at, because he's worried about her mental state, and that's reinforced twice here. So physically, you're fine. Even though he didn't say, Ramona felt like she could hear his uncertainty about her mental status. If she's that clear-minded to be able to deduce from what he's saying, then that automatically tells the audience there's nothing wrong with her mental. So I would just suggest that you go, it wasn't, you've been asleep since last night. And you could even keep physically, you're fine. My suggestion would be, just go right to, I don't remember anything. Let us sort of observe her and come to our own conclusions about her mental state.
Okay.
Because it doesn't go anywhere. Like, she seems to be totally fine anyway, except for that one line where she flips out, which I like, but I'm going to make a different suggestion there. Take or leave it. Thank you for being here. This whole thing, I love the genuine concern. I've already said this, but I love the genuine concern. I loved it before. I loved it now. It would have been a mountain of paperwork if you died, Julia said. I like what you did here in this paragraph, but the next paragraph immediately neutralizes it. Here's what I mean. Ramona looked up at Julius. She couldn't tell if he was happy or not, but the challenge is the very next thing Julia says tells us he's happy. So my suggestion would be, because I know this is coming off of a suggestion I had made, Ramona looked up at Julius, and smiled, seeing the relief through his bravado, or something along that line, and then jump right to, I have to admit it, kid. because this whole thought process she's going through, she couldn't tell if he was happy. Either way, she was great. This kind of thing. You could keep the either way. She was grateful to be alive. You got alive twice, just a little thing there.
Mm.
But my suggestion would be just to jump a little sooner and, to the I have to admit it kid, and get rid of the she wondered if he was happy thing. But I do like the idea that she looks up and she smiles. She knows he can talk she knows he doesn't really mean it. Like oh yeah, the only reason you took care of me was so you didn't have to do paperwork. Come on, Julius, that's obviously not true. But he would say that, and I love that he would say that. Alive, alive, a little proud, a little worried. It just again, I would make some suggestions there, but just a little editing there. Um, it's good. It's just good. It's really, really good. Um, Suggestion here was this moment was great. It said, "Oh, you unleashed a spell. You created these things." That really? Yep. Unfortunately, you're now on the BPA watch list. Oh, that feels a little too soon and almost irrelevant at this point. It was sort of like, don't go to the technicality. Kind of continue on with this idea that Julius. I just don't get like. It sounds like the main focus is still like I don't understand. I just don't get it. Like, how could you know this, right? Like, it's even though he's already said it, he's just like I just don't get it. Um, Coming down here, I had a question. Have you ever mentioned before that Dick's African American?
I'm pretty sure I did.
So yeah, I would just go back and make sure that you have because it felt weird. It's like that it was just being mentioned now. It says Dick approached Mona. Interestingly, had not shifted into some weird form. He was still the big black man she met originally, and like it's sort of like what he's a. It's sort of like it's because it sounded like it was being mentioned in the context of the werewolf thing. It was kind of weirdly off-putting. So long as it's mentioned before, um, and I don't know that being African American is relevant even here. I would just say he
Yep.
was the still.
Dick was huge, 7 feet tall, black, bald, and with a body of like an Olympic weightlifter.
Yeah, I might drop the. I don't think there's anything wrong with African American, but it seems like an odd thing to
Well,
to
yeah, I've already
refer
said
to
black, so I might as
specifically.
well just say black again.
Yeah, or just he was still because the difference here isn't between a werewolf and a black man. It's between a werewolf and a man, I'm assuming. But either way, whatever you want to do there, it felt a little weird. Um, you saved my wolves, thanks to you, my wolves. Again, you may just want to change up their expression because it happens one time. Repetition is fine, but there are about 4 times where it's the same thing, and then that's something you do, and that's something I do sometimes too, where I don't go through and see that I've said sort of the same thing twice. It's awesome. Same thing here. Take pride. Take pride. Um, so small, so not the most important thing. Suggestion here: just simply take the Julia said. Well, enough of that then. Julia said as he moved towards the door. Um, because I had to get all the way to the end of the sentence to realize, oh, it's Julius talking. At first, I thought it was Dick, so I might throw the Julius said
Mm.
in between the then and the. Just me being picky. So this line, so here's the ending was the only thing that I was like, I'm not sure if that's working from my point of view. She's been so strong and she's been so good and she's been so clear and everything else like that, and ready to move on, even when either Julius was trying to stop her or other people were trying to stop her or fear might stop her. And her reaction, wait, stop, what are you doing? They could still be out there. Two things about that felt weird. Number one, it felt weird that she was suddenly freaking out at that level, and that may be the mental health thing we can talk about in a moment. Plus, it suggests, yeah, they know what they're doing. Julius is and Dick are so clearly in control of the situation and know how to manage it, even as they're still trying to figure out Ramona. It felt, she seemed to be very much in their care, and even though her response struck me as sort of normal, if the point is that she's like that she's scared of the insects like someone who just came out of the water is scared of sharks, kind of thing like that. It just felt weird that suddenly this girl who's just been like super super on top of things suddenly reacted that way.
I
But
was just planning on giving her like a permanent phobia of bugs from now on.
yeah, so you can that would be cool. That would be amazing. I would be a big fan of that. So however,
Well, a lot of characters in fiction, they go through trauma and then they come at the other end completely unchanged. So if
mhm.
she goes through something traumatic, she now has to carry that forever.
Well, and that's something I think a lot of readers could relate to is the idea of some people are going to read that scene, they're already freaked out of bugs, so that scene's already gave them, ugh. And if this creates a kind of fear, I like that Achilles heel kind of thing that it gives Ramona. Um, and my suggestion would be the only thing from this point on is like she freaks out, she goes, no, 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 and then Charlie goes, no, 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 and I'm like, and then Julius has to get all strong army about it. Here's what I would suggest, and take it or leave it. I don't mind that much that she has that woo fear reaction. Or yeah, I don't want to go back out there. And Julie says, look, I need you to get back out there. Like this is so that it doesn't repeat the last time. You've got the situation before is him trying to get rid of her, trying to get rid of her, trying to get rid of her. And now when she says, I don't know if I can continue on, this just really freaked me out. But I would give her a more rational way of saying that rather than just and at this point, what's meaningful is if Julius, instead of doing what he had always done in the past, which is, oh, cool, you want to leave? Perfect. Or shut up, you whiny bitch. To me, what's more meaningful to me is if he goes, look, I get it. I know what it's like. Then you're like, oh, Hayden, Oscar winning chapter, because this is who Julius has been for 3/4 of this chapter, is the guy who understands her, encourages her. So I love the idea suggestion that Julius, instead of, once he hears this fear, is there like, don't worry, we can get through this. And then I would probably end it and suggest they go on. But if you really want this Charlie bit here at the end, I would shorten it rather than the whole thing, the long thing where Julius has to get all strong army. He says, you'll do what I say. My suggestion would be go with the obvious. He's just helped Ramona find a way to get back on her feet. She says, you think you can do this? She can, and then have her go, okay, thanks. I think I can do this. Then if Charlie does bitch, Julius, the obvious thing I think Julius would say is, really? This, this newbie who's never, fought a real day in her life, she's going to go, but you're not. And then I can see Charlie going, all right. In other words, point to Ramona being willing to continue as the reason Charlie should continue would be my suggestion.
Hmm.
Or just end it with Ramona having, her response. But I like what you've done here. I like the idea that some of the men may question themselves whether they can go on. In fact, the way I would play it out is like, maybe what I'd say is before she freaks out, have the men object first. He says, Julius, some of the men aren't sure they want to continue, and this has really freaked them out. Oh, is that right? Don't want to move on? Yeah, why continue? Why continue? Because we still have a mission, a-hole. What do you mean, why continue? And shut up, right? And so you don't think you can go on? Hang on just one sec. Ramona, how about you? You think you can go on? Yeah, I think I can go on. And then Julius points to her and goes, so sorry, anything else to say, gentlemen? No, okay, good. Use her as the motivation for anybody on the team, because I like the idea. One of my favorite things about this is that the men
So
are rattled.
basically have Julius call them a pussy.
Essentially. Yep, basically. He's basically going to have this little girl who joined like 10 minutes ago is willing to go on.
That's
But I
very in
like that
line with his character, considering he was born in the 40s.
totally. And then you get to have Julius still be Julius the end, but then he looks at her and gives her a wink. Like says, "What about you, Ramona?" Yeah, okay, so she's fine, right? He looks at her and like, however you want to end that moment with the two of them. But this was a really powerful chapter because it adds such an extra layer of humanity to them as characters and to their relationship. And it elevates the whole story beyond just banter between people who are like, ah. Now these feel like real people. And I do love the idea that the men are rattled by this because I don't want to see them just as super soldiers who can face literally anything and never be afraid. I can't relate to them if they never are afraid of anything. This moment was really important. Like, oh, so these guys are real people. They're strong and they're able and they're wolves and they're weapons and whatever else like this, but they're still got emotions like me. So I thought that really made this really powerful. So solid. And I don't think there was anything else at the end here. Nope. It's really well written. It's really
Yeah,
solid.
I just need to change huge portions of it up.
Yeah, a little bit. I mean, it's more just rearranging it. There's not. I don't really see a lot of changing. It's more addition by subtraction. If you like the comments that I'm making here, very little of it actually. In fact, you could simply go through and just cut or slightly change some of these repetitions are minor. You'll fix them in seconds. No, I think it's one of your sleekest chapters yet.
Excellent, excellent to hear.
There you go. I didn't get to the other chapter. I spent the whole half hour on this one, but I'll hit that one. I'll hit the next chapter next.
No, we're probably gonna hit this one again. I've only got until the 25th to fix this one up and post it out.
Okay.
So if it's not ready by the 24th, I need to make like last minute changes. It's gonna be a pain in the
Sure.
ass.
Yeah, I think I'd be surprised if you didn't have this ready to go. This will be good.
Yeah. If I like where it is at the time, we'll just skip over and go right into the next one.
Yeah, I think that I mean it's already so good. I think this chapter is so good. I mean, I'm comfortable if you don't have anything, if you don't want to hit Daybreak again and we just want to move on to Research Station, THX 1137. I love that. Yeah, full steam ahead, dude.
Okay. Really hope the research station one pulls through as well.
I'll hit that for sure. Do you want me to do you want me to read this version of it, or do you want me to maybe wait
I
till?
don't think I'm gonna have a different version of it. Like I kind of already finished it, so without feedback, I'm not changing anything.
Okay, yeah, no problem. I'll read this version of it then.
Okay. I might still send you Daybreak again if I feel like things aren't quite right. So
Okay.
just as a fair warning, yeah, don't want you to double down on the work if you don't have to.
Okay. Thanks for that, Hayden. Appreciate it.
No problem. See you next week.
Cool. See you next Monday.
We'll do. Bye bye.
Bye bye.